Since coming to the Senate and indeed being in this committee and many of the other committees that I sit, because I sit in the CPA committee, I sit in the budget committee, which we are talking about now, and I also sit in the devolution committee. The experience I've learned has been quite amazing. Number one, I have understood that unless we protect devolution fiercely, there's a possibility that even by default, not by design, even by default, devolution can actually fail. What I mean, Mr. Speaker, is that we must take the responsibility as the Senate, which is the body that is mandated to make sure that we oversight and make sure that the resources that are raised from our people are used well, are used effectively, are used openly without any corruption, are used without wastage, and we must make sure that this is the message we send to the governors and also indeed to the national government, because the two governments, as we are observing, seem to be having many of these issues. You hear everybody talking about wastage, wastage, wastage. I think just the way I saw President Ruto talking about, why are we having cabinet ministers traveling to Seychelles? You find 17 people are in a flight going to the Seychelles. They don't even know that Seychelles is one of the largest countries that produces sugar in Africa. They just go and stay on holiday for 2 weeks and come back and get paid the per diem, which we all get paid, and assume life is normal. You have county governments. I am actually shocked that Kisii County, Mr. Speaker, is one of the governments where the governor has just taken about 40 members of the county assembly to China on holiday. And they're using public money. Can you imagine, Mr. Chair, my speaker, can you imagine what 40 individuals will consume when they travel abroad? I can tell you it's not less than 2 million. 2 million times 40 individuals is 80 million. And yet Kisii Level 6 hospital doesn't have medicines. Kisii Level 6 hospital and other peripheral health centers don't have even nurses in numbers. Can you imagine, Honorable Dr. Halwale, what 100 million can do in a year in terms of providing the community healthcare workers who are paid 5,000 shillings a month, and there are 1,000 in Kisii. If you multiply times the amount of money that we are using to take a trip to China, and I don't want to say that Kisii is particularly a unique case. This is what all the county governments are doing. They say they are going to benchmark about growing something. They are going to benchmark about construction of roads. Our roads, we have the blueprints, Honorable Halwale, all the blueprints and the Ministry of Public Works. If you want to do a road in West Pokot and you want the BQ, it's there. All you have to factor in is the factor of inflation, and you'll know what the figures are. But members of the county assembly, and indeed this house, suffers from that disease. That is why I am so happy that President William Ruto has said, cabinet secretaries, you travel with only 3 people. All the members of the National Assembly take only 2 trips, 3 trips, and those are enough. Let us try and save our people the pain, the anger, and the annoyance where these people who make sure we get elected every 5 years, these people who are being taxed heavily because we are trying to catch up with the past mistakes of misuse and abuse of public funds. I want to plead with my colleagues that let us be careful and let us understand that our people expect better from us. That our people want us to make sure that our counties are run properly, the resources are utilized well, services are provided on time so that our country can move forward, because this is what we want for our country. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the audit reports, because I sit in the budget committee, as you saw, it has been announced by the government, the KK government, the pending bills are about 560 billion. Honorable members of this Senate, I would like to plead with you. let us make sure we look for a structured way on how we can sit down and come up with a proposal on how we are going to make sure that the pending bills issue is sorted out once and for all. And one of the suggestions I would like to make is that I saw my dear Vice Chair, Madam Thabita, raise the issue. Why are county governments and national government departments agreeing to go to tender for jobs when they know very well that the jobs they're tendering for don't have the resources to complete the construction or the implementation of these projects? Let us be prudent with ourselves. Let us spend what we have. If we know we have got 3 trillion, let us put all our eggs in that 3 trillion. Let us agree that we can't continue spending money that we don't have. And that is the reason why it is attractive to borrow. It is attractive to beat our borrowing ceilings. It is attractive to spend the money. Why? Because we in this House, National Assembly and the Senate, go out and agree that certain projects are going to be done. And we know very well, Mr. Speaker, we have no money to do these projects. So, by default, we then go and deliberately borrow. When we borrow, instead of bringing this money to come and do these projects, we then divert the money from the projects which were supposed to have been completed 8 years ago. And now we create new projects because we have an interest in them, because we have been elected into these positions. And this is why you find, Honorable Halwale, that county government executive officers who are the governors don't want to pay pending bills which were incurred by their previous governors. We must, in this House, talk to the governors and tell them, if there was an arrangement where people worked and you can confirm somebody has worked and he can produce a certificate, the Auditor General has confirmed it, EACC has confirmed it, you talk, the Controller of Budget confirmed it, why are you as a governor refusing to pay these individuals who worked? Mr. Speaker, I have a man that I would like to be presented into the committee, this committee, budget committee, in the next 2 weeks, when Kisii County government is being summoned to appear. The man is in civil jail. His wife died. The man is in civil jail in Kisii prison. His wife died. Why? Because the man had borrowed 7 billion shillings 8 years ago, and he lost the money because the tender was for 16 million. The man is committed to civil jail, and the county government has refused to pay him. So how do you expect me as the Senator of Kisii County to look at it? It is an injustice, it is unfair. Yes, we know there were cartels that came out and they did projects, which some of them were ghost projects, but they're genuine Kenyans who have done works. They can produce certificates from same officers in the county government saying you completed your work. Please come and collect your check. And the money was paid to somebody else. So I'm making a request that this House must come with a solution on how we are going to solve the problem of the pending bills. I'm also very proud of this committee because even when you look at CPAC, Honorable Halwale and my senator friends who are here, even when you look at all the other audit reports that we have from the Auditor General, we are now 2 years away from actually breaking even. I believe that by 2024, we would have been able to audit all the reports which were being presented from the county governments, which means we will not be morticians anymore, my colleagues. We will now be able to audit, to oversight state and county resources on a yearly basis because we would have gotten the reports on our tables. And that is the way you introduce prudency, and that is the way you introduce proper management of public resources. Finally, I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, that the other issue that my colleagues have mentioned, and we went through it, Nairobi was a case. We looked at the on-source revenue collections. By the time Honorable Sakaja came to become the governor of Nairobi, Nairobi was collecting close to 1.6 billion shillings a month. And this is why I wanted to mention to my brother, Honorable Halwale, that sometimes, you know, I respect you tremendously, but sometimes when you make an allegation, verify your facts. Nairobi City County, for the last 1 year, Honorable Sakaja's revenues have been declining for the last 9 months. And that is not his problem. We discovered within the structure that was set up, you have 3 to 4 companies that are running the outfit of collecting revenue and revenue streams within Nairobi County government. At the same time, the same people that Sonko used to have, and the same people that Kidero used to have, they are also collecting this revenue. So we are so happy that Sakaja came in and he stopped what was going on. And I'm very proud. Last week when he met our committee, he actually said that the revenue has now picked up. Nairobi might end up collecting close to 26 billion shillings this year alone. That is the management we want. Those are the leaders we want. Our people do not want excuses why we are at 3 trillion shillings budget, and yet we have no medicines in the hospital, we have no water in the hospitals, doctors are not being paid on time, we have ECD teachers who can't be paid, we have medical practitioners, community health workers are not being paid, technical vocational training teachers are not being paid. We must be the people who can come up with deliberate decisions on how we are going to change the direction of our country. And I hope, Honorable Halwale, because you belong to KK, I hope that KK will surprise me by coming up with a proper, structured way on how we are going to make sure that the nonsense that has been going on in our country, where leadership has always taken the Kenyan population for granted with the assumption that whatever they take is not going to be questioned. Right now, Kenyans have reached a stage, Mr. Speaker, to make sure, and Kenyans are demanding that we need good governance, we want proper utilization of resources, and we want to change the direction our people are taking. We want to lift our people from poverty. It has been done in other countries, and we can do it in Kenya too, Mr. Speaker. With those very few remarks, I say I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Onyonga. I wanted to remind you shortly before you ended your address that you were meant to address the chair and not Honorable Senator Bullfighter.